If you're still thinking about your ex constantly since breaking up, and you want to know if they're missing you just as much as you're missing them, well, then this is the video for you. I, of course, am Brad Browning, and in a second, I'll share the top 5 signs that indicate your ex misses you and is thinking about you all the time. So if you want your ex back, obviously the more of these 5 signs you've seen from your ex, the better your chances. Before we get into it, a reminder that my free quiz tool is the single best way to determine whether you've still got a chance to get your ex back. It takes less than 5 minutes, and like I said, it's completely free. So after the video, go to breakupbrad.com/quiz to try it out for yourself and see where you stand with your ex and whether you'll be able to get them back eventually. But now, let's talk about some of the top signs that indicate that your ex is missing you like crazy. Now we'll start with the obvious ones first, and we'll finish with a couple of signs that you almost certainly haven't considered before. Now, I realize you already know this. You know that the more your ex reaches out to you after breaking up, the more likely it is that they're thinking about you and missing you. That's pretty obvious. But let's talk quickly about the different things that your ex might be contacting you about and what that tells us about how much they miss you right now. So firstly, the longer it's been since your breakup, the more of a clear sign that this actually is. So if you broke up with your ex 4 months ago and they're still contacting you all the time, like multiple times per week for a variety of different reasons, then that's a much stronger signal than if you just broke up last week. The longer it's been since the breakup, the more frequent contact from your ex, at least assuming that they're the one initiating it, the more likely it is that they're missing you like crazy. And not only that, but the reason that they're reaching out to you also matters. And I'll cover this a bit more later in the video, but as you probably guessed, it's a lot more meaningful, if they're sending you late night, wish you were here right now kind of texts, than it is if they're just contacting you about, getting their running shoes back from your house or something mundane like that. So if they seem to be showing emotion in their messages, and if they bring up happy shared memories from your time together or show any signs of jealousy, these are the types of contact that really suggest that they're missing you and that they're longing for the days when you were still together. Needless to say, this is a very good thing if you are hoping to get them back. Now, if your ex hasn't contacted you at all, and it's been, a month or more since your breakup, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not thinking about you or missing you to some extent. Some people are just, strong-willed enough to resist the urge to reach out to their ex, even when they desperately miss them. But really, the longer it's been since your breakup and since your ex last initiated any form of contact, that usually is a bad sign, and it does usually indicate that they've at least started to move on. Okay, this one seems pretty obvious too, right? And it is to some degree, but let's quickly talk about what your ex's curiosity means and how it can be a sign that they're missing you and maybe even wanting you back. So for starters, what I'm referring to here is situations where your ex is showing a clear interest or curiosity about what you're up to since the breakup. So any kind of interest, whether you hear from a mutual friend that your ex has been asking about you, or your ex is viewing your social media stories and liking your posts all the time, or they're just directly asking you about what you've been up to, whether you've been dating anybody new, etc. The more curious your ex is about what you've been up to since the breakup, what's going on in your life, who you're hanging out with, and what kind of fun stuff you've been up to, the stronger an indication that is that they're missing you and they're still thinking about you regularly. Now, don't get too excited here. If your ex randomly texts you one day asking, "Hey, what's up?" Well, that by itself doesn't mean that they're missing you like crazy, right? It is good news that they're reaching out and asking for an update on your life since the breakup, but one text message like that or one brief, catch-up conversation with your ex, those things are not by themselves a strong indicator. But, if your ex is reaching out regularly to ask what you're up to, who you've been hanging out with in your spare time, asking for updates on your work or school or family life, or better yet, if they're obviously creeping your social media regularly or talking about mutual friends about you, those are clearer signs that suggest your ex definitely hasn't let go yet and probably still misses you, at least to some extent. So the more curious your ex is about what you're up to, the more they ask around and dig for info on your life since the breakup, the more they seem to care about what you're doing and who you're seeing, the more reason you have for optimism. Remember to take my free quiz at breakupbrad.com/quiz to get an even better sense of where you stand with your ex right now and what your odds are of getting a second chance. Just go to breakupbrad.com/quiz to try it out. I promise it takes less than 5 minutes. All right, on to sign number 3 that your ex misses you, and that is the hot and cold or the mixed messages treatment. So what I mean by this is simple. It's, if your ex seems to be really friendly and interested in talking to you one minute, and then the next minute, they act cold and indifferent or even downright rude, that's the kind of hot and cold behavior that I'm talking about here. Now, this is extremely common after a breakup. In fact, I've actually made an entire video on your ex's mixed messages in the past, which I'll put a link to in the description below. But it's also a very strong indicator that your ex still has feelings for you. So when your ex is acting, very hot towards you, when they reach out to you regularly, they say nice things to you, they ask you to hang out or help them with something, or especially when they show, outright affection by saying things like, wish you were here, or I miss doing, X with you, that's a clear indicator that they're missing you in that moment and probably regretting the breakup to a certain extent. And then when your ex suddenly does, 180-degree turn and starts acting cold, indifferent, or even just ignores you altogether, maybe they reach out to you multiple times one night, but then they don't even reply to you at all the following day. That's the cold side of their mixed signals. And when your ex is acting cold like this, it's usually for one of a few reasons. So either they're A, just busy or distracted in that moment. B, they're hanging out with friends and family who are encouraging them to ignore you or to stick to the breakup. Or C, they're in a more determined state of mind and decide to stick with their decision to break up, even though they really want to respond to you and act, more warm and friendly towards you. In the end, these kinds of mixed messages from your ex always indicate one thing: that they're still struggling with the breakup, that they're almost certainly still missing you at certain times or on certain days, and that they're struggling with an internal conflict, where their heart tells them to take you back, but their head tells them that breaking up was probably the right choice. Now, the longer this kind of hot and cold treatment goes on, the more often they go into those hot phases where they're really friendly and upbeat and eager to talk with you, the stronger an indication this is that they truly do miss you, and they're probably considering asking you to get back together. Does your ex seem really keen on continuing to be friends after you break up? Maybe they mentioned the idea that you could stay friends during that initial breakup, or maybe they've just started to pitch the idea lately. Perhaps your ex is even trying to make you feel guilty when you don't agree to be friends, or they get upset if you take too long to respond to their messages, or don't always agree to hang out or pick up their calls. Well, being friends with your ex is a terrible idea if you want to get them back, but that is a topic for another video, and in fact, I have also made a video on that in the past. Again, so I'll link that video in the description below if you want to watch that. But for the sake of this video, just know that if your ex seems really set on the idea of maintaining a friendship after breaking up, that's often a strong sign that they're missing you, and they're hoping that you'll stay part of their life as they slowly learn to live without you over time. By staying friends with you, your ex can continue to enjoy your company and alleviate some of the most painful post-breakup emotions by keeping you around. So instead of having to deal with the shock of their boyfriend or girlfriend suddenly vanishing from their life, being friends allows them to have a way to slowly adjust to life after the breakup. And it also ensures that you're still around as their backup plan in case they can't handle being single and they want to change their mind down the road and get back together. So what this tells you is that your ex isn't comfortable with the thought of a post-breakup life without you in it. So they don't want to let go of you fully because they know they'll miss you even more if you disappear from their life entirely. So the more determined they are to stay friends, the more they seem to get offended or hurt when you miss their calls, take a long time to reply to their messages, or don't agree to hang out or continue to maintain a friendship, the more obvious it is that they are missing you and they're trying to cling to a way to keep you around. All right, finally, let's talk about two different behaviors that your ex might also exhibit: nostalgia and jealousy. Now, let's start with jealousy because that one's more obvious. Now, any kind of jealousy on your ex's part, whether it's as simple as them asking you who you went camping with last weekend, or as intense as them, screaming at you when they learn that you went on a date with somebody new, it's always a strong sign that they haven't let go and they're almost certainly missing you and struggling to adapt to life without you. Now, obviously, some people are more prone to jealousy than others. So if your ex has always been the jealous type, then this is not going to be as strong of a signal as if they're normally not the jealous type. But really, any kind of jealousy that your ex shows is an indicator that they miss you to some degree, and they can't stomach the idea of you being with someone else, or even the idea of just you being out having fun and doing interesting things without them there. And then there's nostalgia. So this is basically any time that your ex brings up a happy shared memory from your time together, or reminds you of an old inside joke, a funny story. If they comment on old photos from your social media profile from when you were still together, or they say to you, I wish we could go back to X time, and then they reminisce about some fun times you had together. Really, if your ex does seem nostalgic like this, if they bring up those old inside jokes, they play your song on the radio, they reminisce about those happy memories or photos, then this is a very, very good sign that they miss you and they're struggling to actually stay committed to the breakup. The more nostalgic they seem, the more often they reminisce about your time together, the more they live in the past, really, and try to bring up old memories with you, the more likely it is that they're still missing you like crazy. So if you're out there watching this video right now, and your ex has shown at least a couple of these 5 signs we've covered in this video, then chances are very good that they still miss you to some extent and are maybe even considering asking you to get back together. As I said before, the best thing you can do right now is to take my free quiz at breakupbrad.com/quiz. Once you fill out the questions, you'll see your score and a breakdown of your current chances of getting back together. But even more importantly, the quiz will also give you specific recommendations on how to maximize your chances, ensure that your ex does come back to you. So go ahead and take that free quiz at breakupbrad.com/quiz. Follow those recommendations that you'll see in your results report, and you'll be well on your way to getting a second chance with your ex. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing to my channel, and let's chat in the comments below if you have any questions. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.